This Cookout 400 DFS Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your first time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm college football and NFL picks and projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITH.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Happy Friday to everybody out there in the world. Saturday or Sunday, if you're listening on a different day, I don't know. But happy day to you, whatever day you're celebrating. We are here at the end of the week to discuss the Cup Series DFS. Cody, we talked about the trucks the other day, did their whole DFS episode, and now we're going to dedicate one solely to the Cup Series at Richmond. But we've reached the end of race week after a couple of weeks off. Cody, feels good.
Finally, it's almost here. Cars on track tomorrow. If you listen to this on Friday, of course, when it comes out. Saturday, cars will be on track. Trucks will be on track, hopefully, barring Debbie holding off, which is, at this point in time, at the time of recording here, forecast is looking good. So cross our fingers, knock on wood for that. I'm excited. Finally back to race week. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the week, but man, it just feels like it's been so long since we've had racing. Definitely missed it. And it's our buddy Chiefs was mentioning the other day, best time of the year right now, Rod. NASCAR's back for the stretch run through into the playoffs. Football is here, right? We got preseason games. It's cranking up. You're getting all your fantasy drafts in. Just, what a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. Although I hate to have to be that guy every single time, but football never ends.
What?
Guys, it never ends.
You are correct. Football does never end. But look, the AFL was a lot of fun. We had a great time covering it together and all that, and CFL, USFL, all this, but nothing is the National Football League, Rod. It really isn't. So I love those things. They're great placeholders and good to have football a year. Wonderful. They're awesome. But the NFL is king for a reason. And I, for one, am happy that it's back.
Well, and what a great time to be alive, too, because the American Cornhole League is having their world championships right now. And I've been diving so deeply into it's funny because no one cares. This is a NASCAR gambling podcast. But if you're into niche sports,
I would beg to differ that some people that listen to us care.
I hope so, because if you have not watched a cornhole, I mean, look right now. You have the championships on all weekend long on ESPN Plus. A lot of you guys, probably your subscribers to ESPN Plus, go do yourself a favor and watch these. These things are like, I just watched this morning, I watched a match this morning where two grown men got their asses kicked by a couple of teenagers. Like, that's no other sport in the world can you watch two grown men get their asses kicked by a couple
NASCAR, Rod, you could watch that, and we might be watching that in the Truck Series this weekend. You never know.
There you go.
But I will say, who doesn't like diving into cornhole? Always a good time.
Listen, I'm right there with you. I love it. I'm a big fan. Anyway, so we're here to talk NASCAR. We're here to talk DFS, and that's what we'll do today. But let me tell you first, the Sports Gambling Podcast launched their 32 NFL team previews. And as a bonus, each team preview is going to include a code word. Submit the 32 code word phrase, and you could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa Future bet. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast and the SGPN app. All right, Cody, we are here for the Cookout 400. It is the NASCAR Cup Series race at the Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia, set for 400 laps around this 0.750 mile paved track for 300 miles. This is a lot of laps, Cody. This is a lot of laps to lead. So trying to find a lap leader is going to be important. Trying to find some place differential and some value down below is going to be important as well. I will say the betting episode was easy. This, not so much. Like, they make the prices a little bit difficult to try to do what you want to do with it.
Yeah, it's man, the DFS aspect of it can definitely be a little harder because you can pick a guy that you think is going to have a great day, but if they don't end up leading some laps, if they don't end up getting some fast laps, they could definitely sink you pretty quickly. And it sucks to lose a bet, but when you lose a guy in your DFS lineup, that kind of tanks the rest of your bets or the rest of your DFS lineup, right? So it does definitely make it a little bit tougher. But yeah, 400 laps is a lot. That's a lot of laps led. That's a lot of fastest laps. And the other wrench or potentially wrench is being thrown into this is Richmond could be a big time strategy race. First of all, we've been seeing that at Richmond lately anyways, i.e. people like Josh Berry finishing second in the 9 car last spring when we were here. Now you toss in the option tire, right? And when does that come into play? Who takes advantage of it? Who figures out the proper way to play that strategy? You throw in the potential of remnants of Debbie hanging around and toss out the option tire. Now we're using the wet weather tire instead, or in addition to, right? And maybe you end up with all 3 tires. Who knows how the weekend could play out? That could create for some different people on strategies to get up there and spend some time out front, which could make DFS even more fun and exciting this weekend. And I'm really looking forward to it.
You say fun and exciting, but that just makes me want to pull my hair out. There's we always say super speedways are a crapshoot, but when you're talking about weather, when you're talking about tire compounds, when you're talking about all this stuff that's going on right now.
I was listening to the NASCAR betting preview show this week. Make sure you go check out those guys. They're great. And they had Kyle Robert on, and he was like, Derek asked him something about the deal with the option tires, and his response was perfect because it was like, the betting side of me hates it because it does make it so much harder to predict and stuff, but the fan side of me is excited for it. It's going to be different and it's going to be exciting and fun. So definitely how I feel about it as well, because it does throw that extra wrench in there. But I think in DFS, that does make it more exciting because you really have to hit the strategy. Not only do the teams have to hit the strategy, right, but you do as well. And to a degree in betting, of course, also. But on the DFS side of things, like if you play these guys at the top, the Denny Hamlins and the Kyle Larsons, and instead, Joey Logano goes and leads 200 laps because they played the tire strategy, right? Then really kind of changes things and increases the differential stuff that can be in here. So I do and don't like it at the same time, much like Kyle was making the point earlier this week.
Well, and honestly, too, this is like when you don't have a playbook, like when you're going off of a team that you've never seen before and you're trying to get film on them. We don't have film on different tire compounds at Richmond. We don't have film on wet weather tires at Richmond. We just don't have the data to be able to say for sure this is what's going to happen. So all we can do, Cody.
Wait, Matt Castle's starting? He hasn't played a game since high school? How are we supposed to figure this out?
Well, I mean, listen, you can go off of what he did in high school with Al Bundy catching 4 touchdown passes in the championship game. But again, this is what makes this profession that we have chosen so difficult at times like these, when we want to give you with certainty something that we think is going to be. However, you can't really say for certain because we just don't know. These situations that are surrounding this make it all clouded. So what we will give you, as we always do, is our best educated guess, and we'll go from there. We'll all have fun watching it play out in front of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I think it's a fantastic idea. So, all right, Cody, as we always do, we give a high price driver, a mid price driver, and a low price driver. So I feel like because it's Friday, because we really have nothing else to talk about, no news that has broken in the last couple of days, that we should just get right to it. So should we start loading up their DFS slates?
I think we should, Rod. I'm going to start at the high price driver, but not the top of the board. I did consider, and I'm glad you actually are going to talk about the guy you're going to talk about, because I think it needs to be brought up, and I was going to mention him had you not. So I'm glad you put him in there. But I wanted to get a little different, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Chase Elliott. So Denny Hamlin kicks things off at 10-7. Then it's Larson at 10-5, Bell at 10-3, Truex at 10-1, Blaney, Keselowski, Byron. Chase Elliott tucked in here at $9,200. Nice price savings at the top of the board. Click on his name, and there's some little spikes, but there's not a ton, right? It's not been the Chase Elliott we've kind of seen in the past, where he's led a bunch of laps, which definitely can be concerning when you've got 400 laps here. But the thing with Chase Elliott is, we know that he's capable of doing that. You add in this element of tire wear and everything. I think that this is something that could play into his favor. And you go back and you look at what he's done at Richmond. He's been pretty good here. He's been top 5 finish in 4 of the last 8. Top 15 finish in 12 races in a row here at Richmond. That's pretty solid. Now, if he finishes 15th, it's not going to be the best DFS day ever for you. But if he can finish inside the top 5, the consistency of that, and his consistency this year, Rod, we're 22 races into the season. How many times has Chase Elliott finished 22nd place or worse this season?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say once.
0. 21st place at Chicago is his worst finish of the season. He's not finished any worse than that all season, to speak to how consistent this team has been, how good they've been. Now you go back and you look at the short flat tracks we've been to earlier this season. Iowa, 3rd place. This track is very comparable to Iowa. 3rd place there. 3rd place at Martinsville. 5th place here in the spring already. He led 64 laps at Martinsville earlier this season. He also led 41 laps at New Hampshire. So he does have that ability to lead some laps. And really the tracks where he has led a few laps this season have been the shorter tracks, the flatter tracks, where he's kind of shown up and looked pretty good. So Chase Elliott, a guy we didn't really get to talk about on the betting episode. I did write him up in my betting article over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. So make sure you go check that out, because I did find a way that I wanted to get on a bet on him. But a guy I wanted to talk about a little bit on the podcast, because I'm expecting a really good weekend from Chase Elliott. And at only 9,200, he doesn't have to go out and lead 300 laps for you. Maybe he can get a cycle out front, lead 50, 60 laps for you. He's going to get you a good, solid finish. He's going to be in the mix with a chance to win it. That's what I'm looking for. Chase Elliott at 9,200. He's a lot cheaper, so he opens up a lot more options if I want to play a couple of these bigger dogs with him and try to corner that lap sled market. I think you can play Chase Elliott along with the guy you're about to give out, and could be a good combination.
I think I like doing that pairing at the top of the board, because I know that in a little bit, I'm going to give you like a dirt cheap person. And that's going to be somebody that I think you can play along with an Elliott and a Larson, or a guy that I'm going to give you next. But I guess if you want to do Larson too, you can do Larson as well. Yeah. $10,500. But yeah, you could pair up those 2 top guys and then kind of dig down deeper a little bit and cover yourself there. Cause it really does get difficult to try to pair a lot of these guys together that are going to be, I mean, when you look at the way that this is going to shake out and the way that it did shake out in the past, I'm going to give you some laps led data here, and you're going to see why it's difficult to load up on some of the guys at the top, right? Guys like Denny Hamlin, who I'm going to bring up right now, $10,700 for Denny Hamlin. He is the highest priced driver on the slate, but I think you have to have at least one lineup with Denny Hamlin in there at all, because when you're looking at the dominance of this track, Denny Hamlin has led 2,243 laps around this track. He has the second most wins next to Kyle Busch with 5. But as far as laps led, the next highest driver in that category, Martin Truex Jr., 1,587 laps. We're talking almost a full, well, not almost a full. I'm really bad at math, but almost a full 1,000 laps more than the next best driver, right? I mean, Denny Hamlin has just cooked around this track for years and years and years. You want to look at his finishes going back to, well, Jesus, I don't even want to do that because he's got 19 top 5s in 35 starts. But you can go back to, let's say 2021, all right? So we got the spring of 2021, second place. The fall of 2021, second place. He won in 2022 in the spring, fourth place in the fall. 20th in 2023 in the spring, but second place in the fall. And then he won earlier this year at Richmond after leading 17 laps. So again, This is a track in which Denny Hamlin feels completely at home. And is he going to win this race again? Probably not. Well, I know that. Didn't we talk about this? Did I pick Denny? I don't remember who I picked. You picked Denny.
You picked Kyle Larson.
It's true. But he does, Denny, have the second highest fantasy points per race average so far this season, second only to Kyle Larson. So Denny Hamlin's averaging 41.9 fantasy points per race this season. I mean, again, with the dominance that he's had on this track, with the fact that I know he's high priced. I know he's $10,000. I know you don't necessarily feel good about getting the highest priced guy on there, but for good reason.
Yeah, but like, really, he's not. I mean, 2 weeks ago at Gateway, he was $11,000. He was 11,200. Or no, wait, at a Gateway he was 11,200. At Pocono 2 weeks ago he was 11,000. Like, he's been 11.5 back at Darlington, 11.3 back at Kansas. So when you kind of look back, he's actually cheaper than he has been a lot of the season. So really, I love this play. I think that Denny Hamlin is the play of the week. I think we're going to see him be up front a lot. I do want to just throw Martin Truex Jr.'s name out there. He led 248 laps here in the spring. Probably something you're going to hear a lot about this week. A lot of people have been on him from what I've heard. He seems to be popular. I don't know. I'm not comfortable pulling the trigger. He should be really good here. He'll end up in some of my DFS lineups because I think you have to have him in some of them. But as far as the betting aspect goes, he's just too underpriced on everything. But did lead a fuck ton of laps here in the spring. So that is notable as well. But I think Denny Hamlin is the guy that's going to lead those laps this weekend. And he's going to be probably my most played driver this week.
Martin Truex Jr. probably a good GPP play. So just keep that out there. If you don't think, I mean, unless people are on him all over the place, I don't know.
That's the thing. I think he's going to end up being kind of popular, but he's got that ability to lead 248 laps. So just keep that in mind. But Denny has that ability too.
Indeed. All right. We'll give you our mid-price drivers, but first, let's tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has just launched Underdog Streaks. Hit your first 2 pick'em entries and then go streaking. If you can get an 11-0 run, you can win 1,000x. Plus, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes, and they just added another college football contest for Best Ball. You can also use specials and boost on all flex entries. Check it out. We're going to put some videos out this week for Underdog, and so you can check those out on our YouTube channel. We'll put them out as shorts to give you our favorite plays for this race. So sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. Tell me you like buying tickets and I'll tell you you're a liar. Buying tickets for any event is an absolutely stressful event. Not only are you trying to put yourself at the mercy of all of these apps that are gouging you for last minute tickets, but then they're tacking on fee after fee after fee. The scrolling fee, the clicking fee, the looking fee, the buying fee, the sending fee, even though they're not sending tickets to you. It's all dumb. But guess what? Game Time is taking away all of that stress from you and giving you last minute offers on last minute tickets. They're giving you all kinds of reduced prices. They're taking away the fees. They're lowering them, and they're giving you a mobile experience that is second to none. So make sure that you're getting there. You get the Game Time guarantee. You get some flash deals. You get last minute deals. You get zone deals. You get all in pricing, which means they're not even going to trick you at all with the last minute. Oh, hey, look, you pay this much. Well, now we're going to up it $500 more because you're trying to check out last minute. All that's gone. So make sure you're checking out Game Time right now. Take out all the guesswork and all the stress out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code SGPN for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Speaking of saving money, Cody, that is what we are going to do with our next picks. We're going to dip down to the medium price drivers for this DFS slate for the Cookout 400.
Let's do that, Rod. I'm going to go down to 8,400. Not too far down from my top tier driver, but we just got done talking about Denny Hamlin. We just got done talking about Martin Truex Jr. How about their teammate Tyrone Gibbs, 8,400? Another guy, I didn't get a chance to bring him up on the betting episode, but I feel like the DFS episode is a good spot for him. At $8,400, I think you're getting a pretty good price for Ty. it's been a little bit of a rough stretch, right? You've cursed him with this sophomore slump, and it's come to fruition, unfortunately. But this is the type of place where Ty can get on track and get things sorted out. I think this is going to be a good weekend for him. He's a great race car driver. You toss in this extra tire stuff and whatnot. I think that if Chris Gale doesn't fuck it up, he could be pretty good at the strategy. 16th and 16th in his last two starts here. So not the best of days, but okay days, right? Did finish 9th here last spring in a solid run. But you go back and you look at some of what he's done this season. 5th place at Phoenix. Again, shorter, flatter track. You like that? He led 57 laps that day as well. Showed that ability to get up front. Bristol, which was a tire race. Now, he didn't necessarily do a good job of conserving tires, but he got up front, led 137 laps. Maybe that's just what they do this time. Get up front, lead a ton of laps. That fucking pays off in DFS. You will take that. 137 laps he led at Bristol, which was great. You go and look at the All-Star Open. Now, not a lot of big, crazy, great teams in that, obviously, because a lot of them were already locked into the All-Star race. But he did lead all 100 laps in the All-Star Open. Had the track position, was able to keep it out front, ahead of the Alex Bowmans, some of the other bigger names that were down in that All-Star Open race. So big day for him there, leading all those laps and showing that if he gets out front, he can have a solid day. Had a decent showing in the All-Star race as well, working his way up from that last place starting or back of the field starting spot coming in from the Open. So I think that Ty Gibbs does have some upside to potentially lead some laps this weekend. If they can put themselves in the right position, if he gets that track position, we know it's a fast car. These Gibbs cars are always fast on short flats. All 4 Gibbs cars, we haven't mentioned Christopher Bell, but he has the potential to be extremely good this weekend as well. Those are 3 of the race favorites, is Hamlin, Truex, and Bell. This is their teammate at a much discounted price. We know how good of a driver he is. It can be a little bit up and down, right? You're going to have those bad weeks, but you're also going to have those good weeks. The 64.2 points, the 45.3 points, 45.2 a couple weeks ago, even 33.5. You got the 2.9s, the minus 0.4s, some of those numbers in there as well. But he's got that upside. I'm going to reach a little bit for that upside this week. I think people are kind of off the scent on Ty Gibbs, right? He was a popular pick. We're betting on him every week, all this stuff. The slump has kind of arrived. It's not been the best, but it's also not been the worst either. He's still had some decent results mixed in there. This should be a good track for the team, good track for the driver. I expect Ty Gibbs to show up at 8,400.
Okay. I mean, for DFS purposes,
that's what people are going to think when they see him. That's why they're going to skip over him, and he's going to be different for you.
And that's fine. See, I represent the majority, which is why it's okay. Because if everybody else is reacting like that, then you are going to be the one with Ty Gibbs in there. And when Ty Gibbs does well, like Cody predicts, you are going to mop up and you're going to make people like me look foolish. So that's really the goal of every DFS player and better, right? Is to make everybody else look foolish. But yeah, I mean, again, you're right. It's a Gibbs car. It should be fast. It should be somewhere in the front. And so for that aspect, I'll go with you on that one. However, let me dip down a couple of more $100 for mine. I'm going to bring up young Josh Berry, who's not quite so young. $7,800 for Josh Berry in the number 4. I really honestly just have to read you the last 2 Cup Series starts for Josh Berry on this particular track. And that just justifies everything already, right? Josh Berry in 2023 in the spring started 30th, drove the 9 car to a 2nd place finish, led 10 laps along the way. Rod, you say that's the 9 car. Anybody can drive the 9 car to a 2nd place finish. Okay, I'll see that and raise you a 4 car 11th place finish after starting in his favorite position, 30th. So Josh Berry this spring starts 30th in the 4 car, drives it all the way up to an 11th place finish, leads 2 laps along the way. You want to talk about a great fantasy day for a driver? Josh Berry turned in a fantastic day for you altogether. As an Xfinity driver, holy hell, Josh Berry, really good on this track, right? 7th place finish in 2015. Took the 31 car to a 34th or 24th place finish, but here he started 33rd and got 24th. So it's not a bad DFS day for you. In 2022 in the spring, 12th place start, 7th place finish. In the fall or in the spring of 2023, 7th place start, 3rd place finish, led 63 laps around this track. So Josh Berry actually quietly having a pretty decent enough season. Had a couple of good finishes here and there. 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. So again, this is one where he did it earlier this year, had a really good run there. 3rd place at Darlington, not another decent enough track. 7th place at Iowa, 3rd at New Hampshire. He's had some rough weeks the last few weeks, right? Started 2nd in Nashville, finished 26th, finished 36th at Chicago, started 5th at Pocono, finished 20th, and then 35th at Indianapolis the last race. I can't even say last week anymore, but it's been a rough stretch for him. But I think this is an opportunity for that 4-car to bounce back. Time's ticking on this SHR team, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter now what happens. You're just trying to run out the rest of the season. And I think this Josh Berry team wants to run out with a decent run at the end. So yeah, I think for DFS purposes, especially at $7,800, that upside for him, huge this week.
Yeah, I love it. I talked about him on the betting episode earlier this week. So you can go back and listen to that and get all my points on him there. He is going to be very popular this weekend. No doubt about it. I think everybody's on him, but I think for good reason. This is the type of track, and we talked about this a lot in the Truck Series this week. This is the type of track that these drivers, these short track, late model drivers, are going to do well on. It just translates so good here. He should show up and be good. He did it in the 9-car. They were obviously able to play the strategy, which is another point to my Chase Elliott play earlier. That strategy was Alan Gustafson and the 9 team that Chase Elliott's going to be with this week. They can put him up front and keep that position is going to be great. Who's better in the garage's strategy than Rodney Childers? Probably nobody, maybe Cliff Daniels, but that's about it, right? So I think that's all great points for Barry and for Elliott. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on this, and a good price for Barry at only $7,800.
Indeed. I love it. All right. We'll give you our low price drivers, but before we do that, it's Friday, Cody. I mean, we've it's a lucky thing that we've even made it to the end of the week, let alone me being able to speak words that make sense. But
facts.
Facts. All right. Let me tell you first about Rhythm. Football season is here. College football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that. Or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting for you. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists, and Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. Go claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Just imagine the regret that you'd feel if you win your office Survivor pool, but you don't even enter the Circa Survivor contest. Don't do that to yourself. Make sure you go enter. And if you don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football, Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out and hang with Ryan and Sean and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world, August 22nd through August 24th. You can also use promo code SGP15 if you're going to do that to save 15% on your hotel room for sign-up weekend. So go sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with a proxy right now. It's go to football or proxy.footballcontest.com to save $50 with promo code SGP. I'm thinking of going to Vegas. Hold on. Let me double check my schedule and see if I got anything going August 22nd through August 24th. Because if I don't, Cody, I think I'm going to be going to Vegas. Sounds like a fun time.
I wish I was as close to Vegas as you are, because I would like to make it there as well.
It's about an 8.5-hour drive, depending on traffic. And there's really no traffic out there, especially if I drive in the middle of the night. I currently have nothing going on August 22nd through August 24th. So I may go.
Yeah, it's a 17-hour drive for me. So it's a little bit farther here.
A little bit farther. Although I am going to look now, because we did talk about the other day, August, what did they say it was? August 17th, 19th for the October 19th for Las Vegas?
Yeah, I think it was the 20th.
Yeah.
October 20th.
I'm going to be gone.
Well, that sucks.
Oh, well. All right.
All
now,
right, moving on. Let's find a way to save some money and get to Las Vegas, Rod. Great way to save money Austin Dillon, $5,800. What are you talking about? Why would you even bring up Austin Dillon? Why would you talk about him? Averaging 15.1 points this season. It is not great, Rod, but I was listening to our guy, Phil, over on the Full Tank with Phil. He brought up Austin Dillon and made some really good points. This is Austin Dillon's probably best performing track throughout his career. Something about Richmond, he has just been good. He had a 24th place finish here in the spring, so not the best of days. Although at this price, also not the worst of days, really. He was 9th place in the fall race or late spring or late summer, as this is, race last season. Last 11 races here, he's been really good in pretty much all of them, outside of a couple of like 24th in spring and stuff. But he's got 3 top 6 finishes, 7 top 11 finishes in the last 11 races. He even led 55 laps here a couple of years ago in the fall of 2020 race. Austin Dillon just has a thing for this track, and we see this so many times with so many different guys. They're struggling, they're having a bad year, but you get to that track that they just love, that they've got something figured out, and certain drivers just have certain tracks figured out. This seems to be one of those tracks for Austin Dillon. And I think that you can get a pretty solid day for him. You go back and look at Iowa, 41.9 points for him that day. Now, granted, he started in 36th, which is really nice. Finished 19th, so not the most impressive of the days, but place differential pays off big. Even ran a couple of fastest laps in there, which was pretty solid. And so, yeah, he's just, there's nothing, absolutely nothing sexy about playing Austin Dillon. And I think that's why people aren't going to play him likely, but all the way down at just $5,800. You look at some of the other people in this range. Ryan Preece. Actually, I almost thought about making a case for Ryan Preece, but I did not. John Hunter Nemechek, no. Corey LaJoie, no. Zane Smith, no. Ty Dillon, no. Daniel Emmerich. I sort of thought about making a case for him too, but no. Harrison Burton, not a lot of other great options kind of in this cheaper, any cheaper than him. So Austin Dillon at 5,800. Shout out to Phil for kind of turning me on to him, but really, he's just at Richmond specifically has been really, really good, and he's got that upside. A 9th place finish here last fall, 3 top 6 finishes, 7 top 11s. If a guy finishes 7 times in the top 11 over the last 11 races, pretty good for a guy at just 5,800 in Austin Dillon.
Yep, you are going full on GPP on this one for sure, and that's fine. That's kind of what you got to do, right? At this point, you got to build out some of that stuff, and who knows what's going to happen. And I like it because, again, at $5,800, he doesn't have to do much. He doesn't have to be a spectacular top 10 car, although like you said, the upside is particularly there. So, you're taking chances, and I love it, Cody. I love you for that. It's Friday. You've thrown it all against the wall, and you're making it stick. I do have to go back still and listen to the betting preview show because I want to make sure that I get that in this week. But yeah, Phil will probably talk me into it as well because he's just a persuasive guy. That's
he is. He comes with the stats. I think I want to say that was Full Tank with Phil where he gave that bit out. But either way, both shows are great. So make sure you listen to both of them as well when you're done listening to this, of course. But he really did. I was like, we brought it up, and I kind of did what you probably did as you're listening to this right now. You're like, Austin Dillon, fuck, is this guy crazy? And then he starts talking about it. You're like, God damn, Phil, you talked me into it. So I like it.
Well, again, and that's why you got to dig into this. It's so easy if you want to just grab the top names off of there and just be like, okay, well, we're going to go Denny Hamlin. Okay, well, we're going to go Kyle Larson. I mean, you can't do that. You can't fill it with full tank with Phil. You can't fill your lineup with all of $10,000 drivers. You have to figure out where the value is going to come from, which is where I'm going down all the way to the bottom, my friends, to the young man making his very first Cup Series start ever, Parker Retzlaff. You may not have heard of him if you listen to only Cup Series shows because he is not a Cup Series driver. He is making his first start, $4,500, very, very bottom of the list for Parker Retzlaff, a Cup Series regular, or Xfinity Series regular, rather, driving that number 31 car for Jordan Anderson Racing. He is getting his first start in the 66 car for BJ McLeod, kids. That's going to be fun.
No, this is
this is the
MBM motor.
MBM. Yeah. BJ McLeod has made starts in this 66.
Yes, he raced it, I think, at Indy, actually.
Yep, he did. And so this is why I'm giving you Parker Retzlaff. 2 reasons. One, if you're going to load up on these top guys, if you're going to fit a Denny Hamlin and a Chase Elliott, you need a punt play. And I mean an absolute punt play. This is a punt play. This car will likely start in the back. 39th, 37th. It'll probably be dead last.
How many entries is there? It will start dead last.
It will start dead.
I would put a healthy amount of money, barring somebody not, wrecking in qualifying, that it starts 37th.
I will tell you this right now. If you look at the starting history for this, there was 39 cars that started at COTA. That 66 car started 37th with Timmy Hill. It only finished 36th, so it only improved one spot. Martinsville, 37 cars, started 37th, finished 37th with David Starr. Charlotte, 40 cars, 37th is where he started, 37th is where it finished with BJ McLeod. Nashville, 38th, started 38th, finished 38th with Chad Fincham. 40th for Chicago, started 39th. Hey, but it moved up to 28th with Josh Bilicki. So good job, Bilicki, getting it 11 spots higher than it started. And then at Indy, 39 cars, started 39th, finished 39th. But here's the thing. 3 times in that span, there was
I think you already made the case, Rod.
There were steering issues, electrical issues, and engine issues in 3 of those races. All right. If Parker Retzlaff can stay running.
This isn't Daytona, right?
Well, I get that. But here's the thing. He's not going to lose you points. That is the thing. At $4,800, he's not going to lose you points. If he starts and stops where he started, then he's just not going to lose you any points. With the upside of getting you actually some points, a la Chicago, where he got you a few points. So at $4,500, Cody, listen, this is the punt play of all punt plays. A guy making his first Cup Series start. He's been good at Richmond here in the Xfinity Series. I'll tell you that. A couple of a top 10 finish in 2022, a 16th place finish, and this spring he led 27 laps, put it on the pole even. Unfortunately, he finished 16th, but he did lead 27 laps in that. So maybe, just maybe, that 66 car can finish in the at the bottom end of the 20s. That's all I'm hoping for him is a finish in the bottom end of the 20s.
You're going to need some big chaos. We generally save our disagreements for Xfinity, but I don't see any way that Retzlaff can be a good play this weekend. Unless there's just massive carnage. This car is it's so bad, Rod. I don't know if you remember that 00 car back in the day, the Starcom car that used to be around. You go to the race, and I took my wife to her first race and first NASCAR race, and we're sitting there, and they take the green flag, and it's and then the 00 car, and my wife just busted out laughing, and that's what the 66 car is. And you read off. I mean, you sort of made the case with all the not good finishes. Chicago's kind of a different animal because it's, you don't really need a ton of power there. But the engine problems, this team is just running on the most modest budget possible to just field a car. And I don't even really know why they're showing up. The only reason Retzlaff is in this car is because they needed to buy him a ride so he can race the Daytona in a couple weeks in the Beard car, because NASCAR said he had to race another race first. Unless you get a lot of people, he's going to start last place, so he's not going to lose you points. Right? There's almost no chance he doesn't start last place. But BJ McLeod was on Stacking Pennies this week, and he was talking about racing that car a couple of weeks ago at Indy, and basically there's just no chance at anything because you're just 10 miles an hour slower than everyone else. He's not going to pass another car on the track at any point in time. So I can't really see a way, unless there's just massive car. I mean, you're going to have to get 15 cars of DNF for him to have a somewhat decent finish, I think. And Herbst at only $100 more at $4,600. It pained me not to play him, but the Austin Dillon play was too good to not have on there. But that could be a Stewart Haas prepped car, by the way, for Rick Ware Racing there. So I just keep an eye on that. But I can't get on board with you on this Retzlaff play, Rod.
Well, so then I guess what I want to know is, I know that we talk about having a ton of carnage out there. If you have somebody on there, right, a higher price driver on there, and they lose you points, would you rather have somebody who's at least in the positive points or somebody that loses you points? I mean,
but you're taking the risk at them getting you some point. I mean, anybody can lose you points. Kyle Larson can lose you points if you play him, but he can get you points too. And that's the thing. Riley Herbst can get you points, and Harrison Burton can get you points, and Daniel Hemrick can get you points. Retzlaff just doesn't have any upside at getting you any points. He's not going to lose you points. Hey, it's a great point there, but I don't think he's going to get you any points either.
I'll tell you one thing though, there are not going to be a lot of cars that will not finish this race. There's only been a couple of cars per season.
This is traditionally a very caution-free track in general.
Yep. So we're not going to get a lot of carnage, but
we say that, and there's a speck of rain and 14 cars wreck on the first lap, and it changes everything. We've seen it happen before.
The 66 car does not pit the entire time, and then he's at the front.
He pulls some pit strategy, and then there's a random rain shower that nobody saw coming, and it's like the Justin Haley win at Daytona a few years back.
I'm there for that. I'm grabbing my popcorn. I'm definitely there.
We're gonna have so many clips about Rod talking about Parker Retzlaff if he wins this race.
I don't thump my chest, but I tell you what, if Parker Retzlaff does anything, yeah, you better believe I'm coming on.
If Parker Retzlaff finishes better than 35th in this 37-car field, it's a hell of a day for that team.
I'm thumping it like a gorilla. I'm just right there. All right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our DFS plays for this Cookout 400 from the Richmond Raceway. Richville? I gotta go. I really gotta
Friday,
go.
Rod. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
We've made it to the end of the week.
For the Richmond Raceway, Cody started you out with Chase Elliott at $9,200 as his high price driver. I said Dennis Hamlin at $10,700 is my high price driving pick. Cody gave you Ty Gibbs at $8,400 as his mid-tier driver. I said that Josh Berry would be a good mid-tier driver at $7,800. Cody said Austin Dillon at $5,800 was his value driver, and I went all the way to the bottom. I fished and I drug up Parker Retzlaff at $4,500 for my punt play of all punt plays of the week. So there it is. That is our DFS lineup. Cody, how much is left if you put all those drivers on there?
A lot, Rod. A lot.
So you can.
Where'd it go? Yeah.
You can upgrade from Parker Retzlaff if you so choose.
You could upgrade from Parker Retzlaff all the way to Ross Chastain.
You could very much lose you points.
Yeah, but he could also score you points, which is
that's true too.
Sort of. What is going on with my DraftKings? Here we go. Okay, if you put Retzlaff in there, you got $3,600 left. So definitely room to upgrade. Even if you want to play blank space instead of Parker Retzlaff, I might suggest doing that.
Ouch, man! Just no love for the Parker Retzlaff play. That's all right. We'll all see. We'll all see on Sunday who's right, and it's going to be Cody.
We'll see for sure. Oh, we're going to see, buddy.
I love it. All right. Well, go ahead and play whatever you want, and we'll all we'll have some fun.
Okay.
Right,
yes, we made it to the end of the week, Rod. Sorry to everyone. We had to end on the Parker Retzlaff note, but that's okay. Follow me over on the Twitter machine at Husker_Zeeb. Follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling, and we'll be back on Monday to recap the weekend and right into another weekend of racing, baby. It's a great feeling, exciting. Stay safe to everyone in the path of Debbie this weekend. And good luck with all your bets. Good luck with all your DFS plays, your underdog plays. Stay tuned. We'll have those out for you in some way, shape, or form later this weekend. And we'll see you guys next week.
Indeed. Yes. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it is the in-between media folks out there. Check out the Back Road tonight. They're going to have some fun, or last night, rather. They're going to have some fun. And, we'll see you guys on Monday with the recap. And until then, enjoy the weekend of racing. Make sure to check out the YouTube channel. We will be dropping those underdog plays very shortly, so check those out as well if they're not up already. All right, see you on Monday. Enjoy Richmond. Let's go racing and let it ride.
Through the darkness, there is